Let's bring it back to Australia now. Head up to Queensland and catch up with Pauline Hanson, the One Nation founder and leader. Joins us from Scenic Rim. Good to talk to you again, Pauline. We've discussed the Middle East before, so let me just get your thoughts here on the momentous events of the past 48 hours, the fact that Donald Trump used American military might and then used his political power so strongly around this time yesterday to pull back Israel and get them to preserve the ceasefire even after Iran had breached it.
I think it's fantastic what he's done. I've always supported Donald Trump, and I think you know that, and I haven't hidden the fact that I do support the man. I think he's got, okay, everyone thinks he's radical and his thoughts and his views and his actions and what he does, but he's a man that actually goes and follows through. We haven't got that in our Prime Minister. There's no one in the wide world would our Prime Minister have gone in. We don't even have the military might. He doesn't have the backbone to do it. So we have to rely on people like Donald Trump. And through his actions, hopefully there will be peace and for decades to come. I hope that be the case for people on both sides, whether you're an Iranian or whether you're from Israel, but even for other people around the world. Because if it stopped the building of nuclear weapons by Iran, well then it's been the greatest outcome that we can see.
Yeah, agreed. And I just think the international community has to come in very, very strongly behind him and Israel now, and make sure that all of this is verified and locked in for good, whether that regime stays there or not. Let's bring it back to Australia and the new political regime here. The new opposition leader, Susan Lee, addressing the press club today, was very much the Liberal Party talking about the Liberal Party, which is a bit of a problem for them, I would have thought. What did you make of it?
Look, she said they were smashed. Too right, they were smashed. That was an election that they could have won, but they lost it. At the end of last year, at the beginning of this year, they were up in the polls and they should have actually won the election. There was no pushback. When the Labor Party started their campaign, they brought about the Medicare card. Where was the pushback with regards to the Medicare card about they're going to make cuts to it, or even to the education department? There was no pushback whatsoever. And then when they started on the nuclear power plants, what it's going to cost Australians, they didn't have an answer for it. They've left their key, I think, the key people out of the election campaign. That was Andrew Hastie and Jacinta Price. They should have had them on the campaign trail more so. I know Dutton was not liked. A lot of people always question me about what was he like. Susan Lee didn't enthuse me whatsoever in her interviews. She gave me no hope. She talks now about, we've got to look at the modern Australia. Well, what is the modern Australia? I'll say it to Susan Lee. One Nation increased our number of senators from 2 to 4. We've just had sworn in 2 new members in the Western Australian Parliament. We've actually increased our vote across the country. Why? Because we have conservative values about lowering taxes, looking after those middle-income earners, supporting those people where they need support. If she wants diversity, if she wants to head down the path of net zero and destroying the prosperity of this country, she will keep losing more and more to One Nation, because I'll stick to the conservative values, what people want for the future of this nation. Go back to the grassroots conservative values instead of thinking that you've got to appeal to those people. The new migrants come here. Why did they come here in the first place? Because what this country offers them, security, prosperity, a future for their children.
It seems to me that the Liberals, instead of winning arguments, they want to avoid arguments, and that's no way to conduct politics. You've actually got to win the argument.
You have to, and that's what opposition is about. You have to show up the government and their policies and hold them to account. The Liberal Party never really did that on the floor of Parliament. They were pathetic. They were licking their wounds for nearly 3 years. Are they going to do the same this time around? Because they need to really push back. I'm going to be doing it with my 3 members of Parliament standing beside me, and we're going to call for accountability out of this government. They've got the numbers by all means, but the people must know what is going on in that Parliament and what new legislation means to them.
Yeah, it doesn't matter how bad the numbers are and how early it is in the term. You've got to get cracking, and you've got to get cracking quick, smart. Thanks for joining us, Pauline. Appreciate it. Pauline Hanson there, joining us live from Queensland.